What's going on, everybody? Deacon here, and by the time of the video you probably already know where I'm going to go with this topic. So I'm just going to start off the bat just by asking the question: when it comes to advice, any kind of advice, whether it be on relationships, children, a new job, finances, where you want to go to school, what's more important to you, the message or the messenger? Now, for the sake of this video, I'm going to use relationships as my example because I had a really close friend of mine who posted this on his Instagram page. He also shared the same thing on his Facebook page. We got some very interesting replies, such as, "I didn't know you had to be in a relationship to be able to give relationship advice." Another person mentioned that they rather listen to the message more so than the messenger because they understand that, at different points in your life, different things can happen and you might not be in the same position that you were at that time, but the experience that you gain doesn't go anywhere. And then finally, somebody mentioned that just because somebody is single doesn't mean that they can't stay in a relationship. That maybe what happened was that they saw that they were in an unhealthy relationship, they removed themselves from it, and before getting into another relationship, they don't got time for the nonsense, so they're not going to put up with it, while at the same time watching people who are still in relationships that are unhealthy and don't need to be in anymore, but they stay in it just to be able to say that they're in a relationship. Which I have to admit, they were all good points. What he did to kind of counter that, and I knew one was coming because he is a personal trainer, and just talked about, if you go into a gym and you're looking for a personal trainer, you're not going to necessarily seek out the personal trainer that doesn't look the part. You're going to look for one who looks like they're fit. They know the equipment, they know everything that's going on. They aren't just talking about things or different exercises you could do to get you the results you want, but they can actually demonstrate it for you as well. But the statement that he made that really got me thinking was when he said that he noticed that a lot of these people, it looks like they're speaking more so on theory than experience. And I laughed, to myself when he said that, because I know some people that have built their platforms, whether it be on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, where a lot of the things that they talk about doesn't really match up with their current status, nor does it sound like it match up with any of the stories or anything that they mentioned in the past. So it kind of makes you look at them and say, well, how do you know that this is what should work to make a relationship last long term if you've never had a relationship last maybe longer than 6 months than a year? Even though I know for that, so some people, that is a long time. So that made me think about myself with my channel. And one of the very first videos I did on my channel was 4 important attributes you need for a healthy relationship, or something like that. I'll leave a link in the description below. But in that video, you're looking at a young man who was married 10 plus years when I did that video, and just giving my experience, not only from what I've learned, but me talking to other couples who've been married for 20 plus years. And they pretty much agree with me that those 4 attributes, which is communication, commitment, friendship, and trust, that at a minimum, you need to at least have those 4 in order to have a healthy relationship. But then I thought about, what if a young man who's never been married, in his early 20s, gave that same exact message, but just gave a slightly different presentation because he talks about it in a way where he acknowledges that he's not married. That doesn't necessarily mean that that message is just irrelevant and then nobody should listen to it just because the messenger may not have experience when it comes to marriage, because he still might have a healthy relationship on his way to marriage. But thinking about the messenger aspect, I thought about what would happen if Mr. Steve Harvey was to give that same advice, knowing how people feel about him, especially when he talks about relationships and knowing his own track record. Now, of course, I know there are many other examples I could have used other than relationships or things of that matter, but I also know that when it comes to a message, that for many people, the messenger, the delivery, and the presentation does matter. So now I pass that question on to you. Where you are in your life right now, what's more important to you when you're seeking advice, wisdom, guidance, whatever it is you're seeking after? Is the message more important or the messenger? Leave your comments in the comment section below, because I'm definitely interested to see what you have to say. There are no right or wrong answers. What I will say is, I know that the message and the messenger goes hand in hand, but just like you, the viewer, or anyone else, your personal experiences will dictate whether or not you're going to even give that person the time of day to share that message. If you know anything about the messenger or have any issues, likes or dislikes with the messenger. So I'm curious. Also, if you're feeling generous, share this on your social medias, or if you have this conversation with anybody, because I want as much feedback as possible. I want to know what people actually think about this topic, because I've gotten some pretty interesting answers from the few people I have had this conversation with so far. But that's all I have for you all for now. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. And as always, be wise. And until I see you guys next time, have a great day.